Well, welcome. Tonight, we continue the silly season, where we get to meet all the candidates. And the tradition on the show holds. I'll never ask you to vote for any specific candidate, but I'll beg you to vote and to have an informed vote. I mean, these are Milford people stepping up. I mean, everybody has opinions. You're going to meet one of the rare people who not only has an opinion about how to make things better, but has said, put me in, coach. I'll make things better. So I tip my hat to all the candidates who are willing to help make Milford a little bit better. So why don't we start with an introduction?
Good evening. My name is Joe Morais. It's José Morais is the proper way to say it, but I'm just a regular Joe, so call me that. I live in Milford. I've lived in Milford since 1966. My family came here. We came. We waited for a visa, and the whole family, 15 of us, came to Milford. And ever since then, we've grown our own families. We've all stayed in Milford, and I'm married to my wife Denise, and we have 3 sons. And our 3 sons have also chosen Milford
Oh,
to
wow.
start their families. So,
Yeah, there were two Morais families that came. One with, I think, 11 kids and one with 13.
yes.
I always got a kick out of my parents with Morais with a lot of kids, that family. I said, well, what's the other one? The Morais with not so many kids. I said, that family has 11. He goes, yeah, not as many as the other one.
Yeah. No, we got them beat. 13.
And Denise was from the Heights.
Yes, she was. Actually, I met Denise at the Heights early on, and then she obviously went her way. I believe she went up to Maine. She moved up to Maine, went down to Florida, and then we connected later on in life when we were both in high school.
Oh, wow.
So we're kind of high school sweethearts.
I was going to say, and her mother, Tilly, I was laughing before the show that I remember how things have changed. To get to the Milford pool, we used to crawl in her trunk, and she would drive us down with my dog and all the kids from the Heights, all piled into her car. Today, people would have a heart attack.
That's right. That's right. And don't forget the drive-in.
Oh, yes. No, Tilly
Yeah.
had a heart of gold. Absolute heart of gold when it came to the kids.
Well, the Heights, it was a pleasure. I mean, I didn't live in the Heights, but I frequented the area. I remember back. I mean, you remember when we used to play hockey over in the basketball courts for
Yes.
years.
We had that ball hockey court set up
Yes.
on the basketball court.
It was a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
Yeah, but back then it was a lot easier. You didn't have all the organized activities. You came home, we got everybody together, and we played
That's right. Outside till it got dark.
till it got dark. And then there was Paul Vallis's mother, who was always the one that announced it was now dark. Everybody go home.
Everybody in the house! Everybody in the house!
And it was funny because you would never think she wasn't everybody's mother.
Right.
You know, back then the worst thing in the world was to show disrespect to any adult.
Oh, that's for sure. Yeah, she was a great lady.
So, we'll start the show like I start every show. Joe, I'm from Milford. Why should I vote for you?
Well, I'd have to say that, like you, I've got a passionate for Milford. I care about where Milford goes in the future. We've got a comprehensive plan that's going to be needing review next year. It's a 20-year plan. And I think, Milford's going to need someone who's got the technical expertise, the knowledge to drive Milford into the next 2 decades. And today we've got a pretty good board there. We've got some quite a bit of talent. We've got Babe Mainini. We've got Joe Cal. We've got We've got some newer fellas. We've got Pat Kennelly, John Cook. John Cook has decided not to run this year. And I called John up, and I talked to him. I had a good conversation, and he told me the good and the bad, but mostly good. And I got pretty excited about it. And I looked at my talents, and what do I want to do? I want to do something for Milford. And to me, I think this is the best thing I can do because I've got engineering and quality assurance background, and I think it's a pretty good fit.
So now, planning board. If somebody said, what is a planning board? How would you answer that one?
Well, the planning board, the planning board was adopted back, I believe it was 1937, by town meeting. They've, over the years, we've had different members, but for the most part, the guys have been there 20, 30 years. And they've got quite a bit of responsibility to do. I mean, they got to look at the comprehensive plan. I mean, they write the comprehensive plan, and they got to make sure that it's adopted and followed. And that's a big undertaking. They got to recommend town meeting bylaw amendments and rezoning, recommend the town meeting acceptance of streets and byways, approve the subdivision of land. They've got to review and approve site plans, grant special permits for residential and elderly housing. They make recommendations to the Zoning Board of Appeals. And they also are involved in the Chapter 121 tax agreements. So they do a lot, and it's a very important position in town.
Tell me about TIF agreements. They seem to be very controversial, but to me they seem straightforward.
To me, they are too. I guess you could say that I'm a recipient. Back in 1973, we offered, I think, Waters Associates had a TIF agreement. It's a way to draw businesses into town, and you're deferring taxes over a period of time. But I think it's worthwhile. The town gets a lot of benefits from that, and mainly employment. That was big.
Well, I've always been positive towards TIFs that cause tax revenue. If you're going to build a building, then you can build it here or another town, but I'd rather have you build it here.
Absolutely.
But the TIF agreement is always something people don't understand. If I'm paying $100 worth of tax today and I get a TIF, that's only tax deferred on the extra money I'm going to pay. I still have to pay the $100 that I was paying. So it's all upside. We have no downside. It's not like you're giving away tax money.
I agree. I mean, it's been great. I think it's been great for Milford.
And if we had one that caused some questions where we gave somebody a TIF agreement and 3 years later they got up and left. The good news was they didn't take the building.
Right.
And the minute they left, well, the TIF agreement is done. So now the new owners pay 100% of tax.
Sure.
So, as long as it's harder to measure if somebody says, I'm going to employ people. Because how do I know how many people you're really employing? But if you're building a building, I know I'm getting tax money off that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. One of the problems we're going to be facing is obviously there's not much land left in Milford, and there's not a lot of business and industrial land. One of the things that the planning board is going to be struggling with, they're going to come up with quite a few challenges how to protect it, for its original intended use so it doesn't get used for something else. There's quite a bit of controls that we're going to have to take a look at to make sure, because we're not going to be building we're not going to building a lot of buildings. We're not going to build a lot of businesses. I think we're going to probably,
Yeah, I mean, realistically, we have a finite amount of development we can do. It's not infinite. When we were kids,
yeah.
coming out of my house, I was in the woods before I got to the hospital. No woods left anymore. Everything's built.
No, there isn't. And, I think the planning board it's going to be even more important position because we're really going to have to take a look at all the land and all the divisions, subdivisions, and all the businesses. And we're really going to have to take a look at long term because we want to protect as much as we can, for our children in the future.
What do you see as your vision of Milford in the future?
Well, as far as the future of Milford, I think we're going to have to take a look at right now the schools are at or near capacity.
If you listen to the school committee, they're over capacity.
Yeah, right. We're going to have to take a look at, any subdivisions coming in. I mean, we're going to really take a look at the impact on that, the impact on the water systems. I think there's quite a bit to look at.
But now when we get like a 40B coming in, is there anything we can do about that?
The 40D,
40Bs, the
40Bs. As we're going to have to take a look at it, make sure that it complies with all the regs and all the zoning requirements, and we're going to have to.
But what do you look for, Joe? I mean, that's a special case, but a normal subdivision.
Yeah.
I'm a developer. I want to develop a new subdivision.
Right.
I want to come in front of the planning board to get their blessing.
Yep.
What do you do as the planning board then?
We're going to. I mean, they're going to have to come in. They're going to have to come in with an engineering plan, and let's call it a preliminary plan, and we're going to have to do a review and make a determination. I mean, it either gets approved the way it is, it might get approved with some modifications, some amendments, or it may get disapproved. I mean, we got to take a look at it and make sure it fits and fits with all the requirements.
But now, how do you determine if it fits? I mean, to me, people don't always understand. They see new houses coming in, and the average house is paying $5,800 a year in tax. They get all excited. I had Paul Abedanzer, our financial advisor, do a study for us, and he came out and said that every dollar we charge residential tax costs us $1.80. Because the schools. I mean, schools are 62% of our budget.
Right.
So you bring in two kids, they're going to average $11,000, $12,000 each. So you're going to be costing the town $24,000 a year on average, and you're collecting $5,000. So how do you look at a new development and say this will help Milford, it won't help Milford? What do you look for?
The way I understand it, I mean, and again, I'm going to be the new guy on the block, so I've got a lot to learn. But my understanding is there's very little we can do about some of these 40B and subdivisions. I mean, if they come in and they meet the requirements of the comprehensive plan and the zoning bylaws, I mean, that's going to be our job, to make sure it complies with all the rules. And if it does, if it doesn't, they're going to have to go back, redefine, redraw, and come in with a new plan. But if it meets the requirements, I mean,
Not much
we're
you
doing
can
our
do.
job.
Well, especially those, I mean, the low-income setbacks on these projects. If they meet it, they can almost ignore our zoning laws.
Well, and that's the other struggle too, Al. I mean, we do need low-income housing. I mean, the way housing is today in Milford, I mean, it's starting to become unaffordable too. So,
Starting, I just saw a house on Whitewood Road, $900,000. Jesus, think about when we were kids. For 900, you could have bought Milford. They would have thrown in Hopedale.
so true, so true.
But how do you see the planning board helping develop Milford?
Like I said, there's very little land left. So I think the first thing we need to do, Al, is we got to look at that comprehensive plan. It really, I mean, the way I look at it, it's running out in 2023. Okay, when they came up with this in 2003, they came up with the goals and objectives for the 20 years. We've accomplished some things, we fixed some things, we've made some improvements in other areas. In others, we haven't done anything on. So we're going to have to review it again, and that's going to take a lot of time and effort by the planning board, by the citizens of Milford, and probably a subcommittee. We'll probably have to get another subcommittee together. And as well, the community is going to have quite a bit of input. I mean, what do we want for Milford? I mean, there's only so much we can do going forward.
Well, Milford's always been pretty strong. I mean, we've discussed somebody coming to Milford offering us $30 million a year in increased taxes and $1 billion investment, the casino. And yet
Yeah.
the citizens of Milford said, no, we don't think so.
Right.
Not a lot of towns would turn down $30 million a year in increased revenue.
That's true. And another one was the marijuana deal. That was also a big, let's just say, a controversial issue. Some people wanted it. A lot of people didn't. It got shot down. So, I mean, that's what you have to look out to is the community. What do the citizens of Milford want? And that's important.
Well, go ahead.
But as for the planning board, now you got to follow the bylaws, and you have to follow the comprehensive plan. So that's when you can tweak it. That's where it's important. Let's get a lot of feedback from the citizens of Milford and the consultants and the planning board, and put a comprehensive plan together that's going to get us through the next couple of decades.
When you mention the master plan, the comprehensive plan, most people have no idea what it is. Can you explain it to the average Milfordian?
Well, the comprehensive plan was, again, as I said, it was the last one was revamped. There was one in, I believe it was 1966. In 2003, it's been changed quite a bit, because Milford has realized that, as we said, there's not much land left, and there's not much going to be too much development of businesses and commercial spaces. So they came up with a goals and objectives, basically a blueprint for the future. But they wanted to develop a vision for the future. They wanted to establish goals and policies. They wanted to guide the further growth and development, and they wanted to promote the general welfare for Milford residents. Just like the 1965 plan, the 2003 version runs out in 2023, as we said. So there's going to have to be some reviews and some tweaking. And I think getting the residents' input is going to be big.
What do you think the residents, if they had one thing that they could do to improve Milford? Do you have any idea?
Yeah, it's, I'll tell you, it's the traffic. It's unbearable, Al. That's going to be, and there's going to have to be thinking out of the box to get that taken care of, because you go downtown and you can see it, and key intersections all over the town. It's terrible.
It's amazing because it was, how many decades ago we talked about the bypass road.
Yeah.
And how expensive it would be when each lot down there cost $50 to buy a lot of land. I'm joking, but it was trivial. Today, you couldn't buy the land to make the bypass road if you wanted to.
It's going to be difficult.
But anybody going through downtown Milford, as small of a town as we are, they experience a good amount of traffic.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, folks like us, we've been here a long time, so we kind of know the time of day and which roads to go through.
Well, I mean, think about the people on Dilla Street. When we
Mm.
grew up, there'd be, 2 or 3 cars a day driving by. My God, you can't even get through Dilla Street now,
No.
either in the morning going down or in the evening going up.
Yes. If you're working a half a day and you're coming back home, you're good. Go right through on Dilla Street. At 3 o'clock, 3:30, forget about it.
Yeah, but what do you do? I mean, what plans can you make to fix that?
We're going to have to take a look at, I don't know if it's rotaries. We've got a lot of land in town that we've preserved. I don't know, just an idea. Maybe take a look at, see if there's a way to use some of that land for this purpose. I don't know.
Well, the land we bought, either the Louisa Lake, the Consigli land, or other places, is there.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think we should do with that? I mean, you know what it's like to try and get soccer fields, baseball fields for the kids to play on. Should we develop more of that land into recreational space?
I wouldn't be opposed to that. That's actually a good idea, Al. Right now, I mean, there's not even any paths going through it. I mean, it's just closed off. And my understanding was quite a bit of acreage there. That would be a good idea. Divert some of the fields to that area. Maybe it would alleviate some of the traffic.
Yeah, but even if it didn't do the traffic, just getting fields, when we were coaching,
Mhm.
trying to get the Parks Department to allocate a full 11v11 field
Yeah.
was killer.
Yeah.
But if you had an 11v11 team, practicing on half a field kind of
Defeats the purpose. No doubt about it. No, I hear, Al. I remember back in the day. I mean, we were out there every Saturday morning. I mean, we used to do our own maintenance on these fields.
You had no choice.
No, you want to play on it.
So now, as we start looking towards planning for Milford's future, and we can talk about recreational areas, we also have schools coming up. One of the questions that came out is, the only piece of big property we have left is up Asylum Street. Do you have any ideas on what you'd do with that if you had a choice?
I haven't really given that much thought. I use that road quite a bit to travel down to the leaf dump, but no, I haven't given it too much thought.
But even something like that, where Scotty put the leaf dump.
Yep.
I mean, that's turned out to be very popular.
That is very popular. They did a nice job with that.
Realistically, it's hard to explain to people how nice it is to have the town pick up my leaves.
That is true. A lot of towns don't have that service, and it is great. Saturday morning, or I think they're open like 3 days a week now, and probably through the summer it'll be more often. That's fantastic. If you don't get them picked up during the normal pickup, you can bring them down yourself. So that's big, no doubt.
Yeah, they go through that rotation, and unfortunately, we're very early this year.
I know.
I remember the year when I was week 1. I walked with my 2 leaves down to the end of the driveway and put them down.
Yeah.
And then watched all the leaves come down after the town had gone by.
Oh, sure. Oh, sure. That's going to happen. No, I've been doing that for years. I'll rake them over to the side there on the Highland Street side, and I'll put a tarp over it, and the town comes in, they pick it up, they take the tarp off, pick it up, and leave the top for you. It is a great service, no doubt. No, we're lucky in Milford. I mean, we've got a lot of good resources. A lot of good departments, and I'm pretty proud of it.
Well, I mean, people don't understand. I mean, do we pay too much in taxes? Yes. No matter what we pay, I'd say it's too much.
Mm.
But realistically, compared to other towns, we get good value for our tax money.
Oh, no doubt. Yeah. No, I'm in agreement with that, Al.
When you figure that the average house is paying $5,800 a year, but you don't have all the hidden. There's towns around us that if your boys wanted to ride the bus to school, $400 a piece.
Yeah.
People can argue that's a fee. To me, it still feels, if I feel somebody's hand going in my pocket, taking money out, it feels like a tax. Any way around it, it feels like a tax.
Yeah.
Any last words you want to leave with the voters of Milford?
Well, I would like to say that we need to concentrate on the future development. Basically, it's going to have to be redevelopment of what we have. We're going to need to protect the limited remaining land that's zoned for industrial business development, and try to protect it from other uses. We're going to have to remedy the traffic congestion in the downtown and key intersections, as we said. We're going to need to look at public services and facilities downtown and promote a strong sense of community. And I think that's going to require a lot of work from different departments, and we're going to need all the departments to work together in town and
Well,
guide Milford.
thank you for being one of the people that not only has an opinion, but is willing to help Milford get better. And as always, I'll never ask you to vote for any specific candidate, not the purpose of the show, but I'll beg you to vote and to be an informed voter. Get to know the candidates for all the positions. You can watch this show, you can be one of the 6 loyal viewers, you can go to the senior center, you can Milford citizens for Milford have forums, but get to know the people and then pick one that you think will best suit you and vote. So as always, to our 6 loyal viewers, may God bless, may tomorrow be a better night than tonight. Good night, Tilly.
Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Not too long since I've been home. Been running all my life